Yo, what up, peeps? Today we're going to be exploring how I use the MPC 500 in 2023 right now and how it might be useful for you. Here are some like tips and tricks that I usually do within my recordings, but I don't know everything. I don't really claim to be the expert of the MPC 500. So if you have any suggestions, please leave it down below. But I'll show you my process right now. I have an Ableton project open right over here. I can possibly just drag it up on the screen. Uh, and so basically, I have the output of my MPC 500 running into the input of the Focusrite 2i2, and then I have that connected to my computer. And now uh, I was gonna start from like a fresh project, but what happened was I tried to load up an old project the other day that I finished actually the other day, and then I come to open it, but the song file is there, but the sequences are deleted. I don't know what happened. Maybe I just didn't save the sequences correctly. It actually annoyed me a lot, but I was able to pull together something else. It's not great. It's not like my masterpiece, but it's good enough for an example. Alright, so hopefully you can hear what I'm doing right now. So now I'm in song mode. I can go back into my sequences. I have my tempo set to 71.5, so I made sure within my Ableton project that I have the same tempo, because that's important. Um, and what I'm essentially going to do is I'm going to track everything out individually. But it's important to set this up beforehand. So right now I have 9 sequences. And if I go into song mode, I have everything chained up. And so what you can do at this point, if it's to your liking, you can go convert song to sequence. So it'd be sequence song 2 at this point. And if you go into the params over here, you can see it's now it's 44 bars in length. And instead of putting the loop on, you can just turn it off. And now if I go into my track mutes and I just want to record the sample first, so I know that's on track 7, so I leave 7 on. Oop. See, this is the problem that I have right now. I put that in D, so make sure you have it in A, because or else if you recorded it in track D, but I don't think people go that far. Maybe they do. Tell me if you do that. So this is just the regular sample that I have right now. And if I want to record that from the beginning, I arm my track, do 1-2 inputs, and set that to record. And I put a count in, a 1-bar count in. Probably a little bit off. So in this case, we can do this again because it starts on the 1. We could just, it doesn't have to be on time necessarily. You just have to start it after it goes. Because you can kind of fix that in post afterwards, but now we're just gonna let this play out and do it again for the next one. I'll show you when the kicks or the snares come in. So yeah, like I don't think you'll get it perfect every single time, but it's kind of fun just like scrolling in. You're zooming in, and then afterwards you're trying to find the point of which the beat starts, and then you could just play it, Record the other synth part, which might just take a while because it's like literally only one section. At this time I'm gonna be recording bass, and then after that I'm probably gonna do the kick drum, then the snare, then the hi-hats, percussion, whatever. So usually at this point of the track, I want to see if the groove sounds the same, So let's say if I go back to the track mutes and I get rid of this main sample. Now we want to see if that's going to sound the same here. It's a little bit different. I think there's a problem with the snare being too early. And if I zoom in on my project right over here, I can see that the brown track, the snare, comes in a bit too early. That's okay, we can fix that. I know if I go into my sequence right now, and I go to track A2 where I put my snares, I can see that, and this is track A2, if I go shift, and then I go to event, it's going to trigger on 1195. So I have to make sure that the first time the snare is hitting is in 1195. So now that I have my groove in place, I can just check out if all my other elements fit nicely in the track. Sounds like pretty much what was coming out of the MPC. So now I'm gonna switch from my speakers right over here to my headphones so I can listen to any unwanted frequencies, and I can cut that out with a noise plugin that I'll show you, or noise gate rather, that I'll show you guys right now. What I usually do is I would go over a track like this one, or how about my main track, then solo it, go to the parts where there's not a lot of noise, maybe even solo the hi-hats. Usually there's a lot of noise there. And so usually what I would do is, if you go to Wave Audio, there's this plugin called NS1. For the stereo, you would do the NS1S, but for the mono, you would do, for your mono tracks, you do NS1M. So you put it over here. Let's say I'll select this bass one, put it on here. So it kind of cuts out any unwanted noise after your mix. After you have finished putting on your noise gate plugins, what I did was basically did a little bit more EQ, the gentle vintage over here, but I just brought it up maybe around 600 or something. I put some of the car stereo effect and some reverb. What I did for the drums was I EQ'd it a bit more, and I wanted to bring it out to have like some more oomph. So basically what I did was I grouped the hi-hats, the snares, and the kicks together. I put EQ individually on each of them, and then in the group I put a drum bus gritty, turn down the volume a bit, turn down the reverb a bit, bring up the boost. So yeah, now it sounds a bit different, but basically why you put it into your DAW afterwards is just so you can have a little bit more freedom when it comes to mixing. The MPC 500 doesn't have its own mixer section, so the mixing that you will do in the box itself is rather on the program and inside the step edit feature, and then adjust the volumes from there. However, when you have it as a waveform on your computer, it's easy to just cut out, as I did some slices over here of unwanted notes that I put on the sequence. So yeah, I'll export this track and then you can listen to it a bit at the beginning. There's one more thing I want to mention. Instead of, let's say, recording it like the way I was, another method, which is probably the better method that you guys should be aware of, is you go to your metronome section on your MPC 500, and for the count in, you can put it on record and play. And so when you start your sequence from the beginning, and let's say you want to line it up like I'm doing right now, so you'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then press start. So basically, you have your click track. So basically, anywhere along the line of the click track, you would kind of basically line up the clicks together, and then that's how your sequence will be correctly on time and minimal drifting. Well, there's still going to be drift because you're recording it into Ableton and there's always going to be latency of some kind, but this is another method that a lot of producers that work on older MPCs really like to do, but for me it's I just kind of mess around with it even more when I bring it into Ableton. Hope y'all learned something from this video, and of course hope y'all having a nice day. And if you won't have any questions, please feel free to hit me up in the comment section below. If you liked this video, please press a like, and if you want to see more, please subscribe. So yeah, with that being said, peace.